Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. I'm Natalie. Today I'm super excited because we are going to jump into our July TBR. This year has kind of been hard for me. I feel like I've just been in a big reading slump like most of this year, but I feel like June was the month I finally got out of the reading slump officially. Like, I've been in and out of it all year, but towards the end of June I really wanted to pick up books, read. I really wanted to read, so that made me super excited, and so I'm very excited to get into the July TBR because I'm really hoping I end up picking up a lot of these books, whereas the TBRs in the past this year, it's just been really hard for me to pick up books because I haven't been in the mood. But I feel like we're finally at that point where I'm really wanting to read. It's officially, we're like fully in summer, so it's just fun to like read outside when it's super nice out, at the beach, pool, all that kind of stuff. So I'm very excited. As always, I have a bunch of TBR cards in here. There's like 70 plus in here, so we have a lot to choose from. I have a ton of new books on my TBR card. I've done quite a bit of book shopping and I've gotten some books sent to me over the past month. So we have a lot of new ones, a few old ones from the past, a good selection, some new releases, which I'm really excited about, just a ton to choose from. So my TBR cart is fully stacked right now. So let's get into the July TBR and see what we're gonna read in July. First read of July is a small town romance book. So I feel like we have a few in here, so let's look. Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. Is this small town? I'm sure it is. I think for our small town romance, I'm going to pick Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. This is the Gold Rush Ranch series, and I believe this is like one of her first series, if not her first book. I'm not completely sure, so don't quote me on that, but I know this came out before Chestnut Springs. They have just redone the covers and they're now selling them at Barnes like this. They're super cute, so I decided to pick this one up, but it's called Off to the Races. This book is about Vaughn Harding. He heads from a city to a small town called Ruby Creek. He wants to revitalize his family's ranch after this scandal happens and after his grandfather passes away, so he heads back to this small town. He races horses and he hires Billy Black to train his most stubborn racehorse because he really needs a win, and Billy Black happens to be this beautiful girl, and her and Vaughn really clash heads, but he can't stay away from her. I'm excited to read this. I'm sure it will remind me a lot of Chestnut Springs. It's giving the same vibes, so I'm excited to kind of like get back into that world. Perfect for summertime, and yeah, this is gonna be our first book for July TBR, a small town romance. Book number 2 of July is a book with a flower on the cover. That is so specific, but I love this. A book with a flower on the cover. I feel like we might have a couple, but I know picking daisies on Sundays has a flower on the cover, so this is one option. The rom-commers, I mean, this is technically on the cover, but it has flowers on the binding right here, so I'm gonna count that. The Stillwater Girls has flowers on the shirt of this cover. There's a lot of flowers. We have a ton of books with flowers on the cover, so I just kind of took my own pick here, but I'm going to go with Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. This is the second book in the Lakefront Billionaire series that just came out recently. I have been dying to read this book. I was obsessed with the first book. The first book of this series was the first Lauren Asher book I ever read. I like skipped ahead. I didn't even read the fine print or anything first. I skipped to this series and I absolutely loved it, and now I have gone back into like the fine print, all of those books, but I love Lauren Asher so much, and this is obviously a new release, so I really want to read this book. Ooh, okay, I actually didn't really know what this was about. I am excited. So this is about Raphael. He's a billionaire, he runs his own business, and he's also a single dad. He has a nanny named Ellie, and Ellie watches his son. She is a struggling songwriter. She also teaches his son music. So they're about to go on a summer trip together for 14 days with the son, obviously, because she's watching his son. The lines start to kind of get blurred on this trip. This will be very interesting, and I'm excited to read it. I've heard really good things from people that have read it already, and I love Lauren Asher's writing, so I'm very excited for this one. Book number 2 for July is going to be Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. Book number 3 for July, a book with a person on the cover. Let's see what we have here. Swimming in the Dark has a person on the cover, which I'm very intrigued by this, so this could be an option. Before I Let Go is another one that has a person on the cover, and I think I'm actually gonna pick this one, so we're just gonna go with this one. Honestly, again, a ton of these books have people on the cover, so I kind of took my pick with this one, but the reason that I really want to read this book is because Kennedy Ryan is actually coming to Columbus in like 2 weeks for a book festival that I'm going to, and she's going to be speaking there and doing a signing, so I really want to read one of her books before I meet her, if I do get to meet her. I have heard incredible things about Kennedy Ryan's writing, and I haven't yet to pick up one of her books, but I've heard great things about this one, so I really really wanted to pick this up and read it. The story is about Yasmin and Josiah Wade. They were a married couple, but after like blow and blow to their marriage, things kind of fall apart. Now they're just kind of co-parenting and running a thriving new business that they have together, but they're kind of like magnets. They're always drawn back to each other, and when one kiss kind of leads to another thing, they try to figure out if their love is going to kind of thrive and bring them back together, or what's going to happen to them. So I'm very excited. Again, just heard really incredible things about Kennedy Ryan's writing. I'm excited to try a new author that I haven't tried yet. This is gonna be our third book of July before I let go. It's a romance summer, guys. The past 3 books I've chosen have all been romance, but I'm a-okay with that because it is a romance kind of summer for me. Book number 4 of July. Ooh, okay, this is a highly anticipated book. I know exactly what I'm choosing for this one, and it's The Housemaid is Watching by Frida McFadden. I picked this one up this past month and I just haven't read it yet. This is definitely one of my most anticipated reads because I love the whole Housemaid series. I'm a little nervous because I have heard not the best things about the 3rd book, but I still am going to read it. I love Frida McFadden so much. I love her writing. I think it's so quick, so easy to follow. I've obviously read the 2 other Housemaid books, so I'm very excited to read this. Whether I like it or not, it's very much an anticipated read for me. This is about the main character from the other 2 books. She was obviously a housemaid in the past, and now she's kind of settled down into her life with her husband. They live on a quiet cul-de-sac. These new neighbors move in, so they go over for dinner one night to meet the new neighbors, and a maid actually answers the door for them. She feels like she's looking into a mirror because she used to do all this. She used to clean houses, be a part of other families' lives, and just into all that mess. This maid kind of gives her like a cold stare, and she just gets chills from it. She's getting really bad vibes, but her husband ends up leaving their house at night. She hears someone say, "Be careful of your new neighbors." She just doesn't think she's in the safest place anymore, even though she thought this was going to be her quiet life after all the disaster she's been through. So I'm very excited for this. I know, again, I haven't heard the greatest things, but I still really want to read this. So this is going to be our 4th book of July, and we're adding a thriller into the mix finally. Book number 5 of our July TBR is, ooh, okay, a book that's been hyped up recently. Let's see. I feel like there's been a few books on my TBR that have been hyped up recently. I'm gonna go for this book called Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. Monaghan, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but I have seen this one all over my Instagram, people hyping it up saying it's a really, really cute summer romance. So I feel like this is the one I'm gonna pull. Obviously we're going into like prime summertime, so I'm just very drawn to like summer romance books right now. But again, this one's being super hyped up all over my Instagram, so I've been eyeing it and been wanting to read it. So we're gonna choose this one. This book is about Allie Morris. She's a professional organizer whose life is kind of a mess right now. Her mom actually died 2 years ago, and then her husband left her, so she's been going through a lot of shit recently. The first time after she takes her wedding ring off and decides to kind of venture out into the world again, her dog ends up peeing on this man, but everything turns out okay because he takes interest in her. His name is Ethan. She decides that there's nothing wrong with a little summer romance. So I think this will just be a cute, fun, quick little read and just perfect for like bringing to the pool or outside. We're gonna throw this one into our July TBR for book number 5. Book number 6 of July, a book by one of your favorite authors. Let's see, I have a few of my favorites on here. Honestly, I'm going to grab Falling for Gage by Mia Sheridan. She's one of my favorite authors. I love her so much, and she's amazing in person. She's so kind, so sweet, just such a good person. I love her so dearly, but I have yet to read Falling for Gage. This book's kind of tied to Archer's Voice and then Travis. She recently released this one, and it's all about Gage, obviously. But if you've read Archer's Voice and Travis, he's kind of a character in those two, and this is obviously his book where you find out more about him. So obviously this book's about Gage. He is still single, and he thinks he's past these like one night stand days of his life, but he does end up having a one night stand with a bartender that lives like 3 hours from him. She later shows up a couple weeks later in his hometown and pretends she's an art appraiser to everyone in the town, but he knows that she's lying, so he's very confused about that. But Rory, who is the girl that shows up, is actually trying to find her father. All she knows from her mother that has passed away is that her father is from this town called Calliope, I'm not sure again how to pronounce that, but this is where Gage lives, and they obviously run into each other again, and he can't get her out of her mind, and she, although she hates to admit it, is feeling the same way. So this is his story. I'm very excited to read about it, and again, I love Mia Sheridan so much. The 7th book of July, a genre you love to read. I have a few genres I love to read, so this will be pretty easy. I'm gonna go with romance because we're just very much in a romance mood this month. I'm gonna go with The Rom-Commers, which is Catherine Center's latest release. This book is so heavy. I actually was sent this book by Walmart in a PR package, but I wanted to pick it up anyway. But it's so cute, the pink sprayed edges. I am very excited, and the inside is so stunning. So this book's about Emma Wheeler. She is a screenwriter. She's loved writing rom-coms her entire life, but she's also a caregiver for her dad who needs help. But she gets this opportunity to go screenwrite for one of her biggest influences, which is this guy named Charlie Yates, and it's like too big of an opportunity to pass up. She has to go do it. So her younger sister kind of takes over taking care of their dad for her, and she goes to LA for 6 weeks to write with this Charlie Yates guy. But when she gets there, again, it says don't meet your heroes, which sometimes that's true, but this Charlie guy is kind of a mess. He doesn't care to write with her. He doesn't want to write with a failed nobody, in his words. He doesn't care about the script. He just really wants to get it greenlit and kind of move on, but she's gonna do anything she can to make this count and to make this script the best it can possibly be, whether that's like making out with him and trying to do it that way, which is what she does. But this kind of turns into something else. This will be very interesting. I think it sounds really cute, and again, just like a fun summer read. So we're going to put this one on the July TBR. I'm very excited about it. We are gonna do one more for July. So our last July TBR pick is a genre you don't typically read. The book that I'm going to choose for the genre I don't typically read is going to be fantasy, because if you guys have been following me for a while, I do dabble a little bit in fantasy, but it's not a genre I typically pick up. I typically go for romance or thrillers. Those are like the main two I reach for, but I've had this for a little while. I read Powerless in January and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, but I have yet to read Powerful. This is just the novella that came out after Powerless, and it's been sitting on my shelf for quite a while now, so I figure it's about time to pick it up. If you read Powerless, that book obviously focuses on Peyton, and she has her best friend named Adina. This novella focuses on Adina after Peyton kind of goes off to the trials, and Adina's kind of left living in the slums of Loot Alley without Peyton there, so she kind of has to fend for herself. And after she is caught stealing, a mysterious man from the market kind of comes to her rescue, and that is Mac. Mac and Adina kind of pair up for the trials so they can see their loved ones. This puts them through a bunch of tests to test their loyalty and their love. So I'm excited to read this. I really liked Powerless, so I'm hoping I enjoy this as well, but I felt like we needed a little shorter book to throw into all of these big romance books, and I don't typically reach for fantasy, so this is going to be the genre I don't typically read that we're going to reach for. Those are all of the books I'm going to put into my July TBR. I only did 8 because I'm really trying to enjoy getting back into reading, and I feel like June really made that happen for me, so I just don't want to like overdo it and feel overwhelmed. So that's why we're doing 8 this month, but I feel like we have some really good reads. We have a fantasy, a thriller, and then a lot of romance, but I'm very excited about that because I just love romance. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you guys have any of these books on your July TBR, or if you've read any of them and what your thoughts are in the comments. I'm going on a ton of trips coming up. It'll be good to just have books on hand to grab, and just quick summer lovey-dovey romances with a little bit of other genres thrown in there. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you guys in my next video.